3.7 Motivating Rule. Activity 3.16. First, and into your glossary a definition of motivation. The role of a manager as a leader is closely related to their role as motivator. Can you think why? Once more, stop and consider for a few minutes before reading further. Again, in this role, the manager is concerned with the human aspect of the resources available for achieving goals. Motivating people is about generating enthusiasm and persistence in their action. Leadership can be done without this, but it can be argued that more effective leadership and so management will involve taking the role of motivator so goals will be achieved more effective. Theories of the motivation again can be seen to have roots in the various developments in business management literature. Three of these are offered here as examples. Activity 3.17 Reading. This reading will look at the concept of motivation, get an overview of the main theories, and look at three specific theories. Mullins 2010, Chapter 7 Work Motivation and Job Satisfaction, page 252 to 64. The meaning of motivation up to and including Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory, page 265 to 67. Hertzberg's two-factor theory, page 268 to 71. Vroom's expectancy theory. The rest of chapter 7 explain a number of other motivation theories and look at job satisfaction. Skim this if you have time. An alternative reading is the Body 2008 chapter 15. Motivation, page 494 to 97, 502 505, 08 for discussion of the three models. The inherent differences between individual means that what motivates one person may not motivate another. Nowadays, people are generally better educated than they were 50 years ago and therefore have a greater expectation. They require more interesting and challenging work and manager who will make them feel value, give them regular feedback and rewards for increased performance. Management who do not fulfill these expectations will not get the best out of their staff. The term motives and motivation can be used in several contexts. The goals that people have, e.g., status, power, friends, age, the mental processes that lead people to pursue those goals, the social processes through which some individuals try to change the behavior of others. Motivation is important because individual performance is a function of ability, motivation, and situational factors. The less the workforce is motivated, the more control management has to exercise, and this can be self-defeating. The concept of motivation enables an individual to make causal attribution and explain others' behavior to him herself. There have been attempts to explain how people are motivated, what motivates them, and their different attitude to work. Motivation in the workplace will be affected by many factors: the characteristic of the organization, the characteristic of a job, and the characteristic of the individual. All those factors interact with each other. There are several different approaches to understanding motivation. Content approaches emphasize needs that motivate people. Process approaches emphasize workers making decisions based on needs. Reinforcement approaches focus on how employees learn to. You will have met the three models below as part of the essential reading of this topic. Maslow hierarchy of needs, 1943. This model has already been discussed in chapter 1. You should have read about this in activity 1.7. Go back and look at it again. Hertzberg two-factor model, 1968. Hertzberg et al. 1959 offered a two-factor theory of motivation where research was done on what factors can affect just satisfaction levels. Two categories were developed. The first set is called hygiene factors, which are the elements needed to prevent dissatisfaction. They include salary, security, and supervision. The second set is called motivation factor, which are the elements that affect satisfaction level but that cannot lead to dissatisfaction. These include recognition, responsibility, and advancement. Hygiene factors are seen to be the most crucial, but both types have to be present together to motivate worker fully. Activity 3.18. What stage of development in study of management do you think influenced Herzberg's theory? Think about this for a moment. Can you see similarities within the hierarchy of needs idea offered by Maslow? What were the historical roots of that? You can trace this in chapter 1 if necessary because recognizing the links between these issues is very useful. Theory. A different type of theory is offered by Broom 1982, the expectancy theory. This theory stresses the understanding how employees perceive possible outcomes is vital for knowing how to motivate them. Broom uses the term balance to describe what the employee anticipates would be the satisfaction gained from the outcome of a particular action. Two categories of outcomes are possible, either performance-related or need-related. The theory suggests that motivational force resort from the combination of anticipated outcomes, performance, and need-related, and the expectancy. The subordinate has that he predicted outcome will actually be realized. Goldthorpe's research, another example, is a theory developed from research on a particular group of workers. Manual employee in a car factory. Goldthorpe at 1968. This was a classic psychological study of the workplace. The main findings were that motivation could be influenced by factors outside of work, so different workers will be motivated in different ways. That makes the role of the manager as a motivator particularly difficult. However, three main types of worker were described and could be identified as: number 1, affluent workers, instrumental in approach to work and so motivated by money. Number 2, professional workers, bureaucratic in approach and so motivated by position. Number 3, traditional workers, feeling solidarity with each other. As a result, they are motivated by a sense of belonging. It seems then that the managers have been again to make important decisions in their role as motivators. They need to decide what type of workers they are trying to motivate, what behavior they are trying to motivate in these workers, the most appropriate method of motivation, and possibly the outcomes that can be used to provide the motivation. How would you motivate the telephonist in the next example? Activity 3.9. Consider the following example and think how you would motivate staff in these circumstances. Try to use one of the theories you have just read about. Your company is a telephone answering service, a call center, and operates from the Indian city of Mumbai. Staff must answer problems about household equipment, vacuum cleaners, gas boilers, kitchen appliances from consumers in Texas. Staff members are taught how to speak to and understand Texans. They could know that the sport result and weather in Texas so they can chat in a friendly way. However, staff find the work too abstract and unreal. Many moves on the other jobs want their language skills are improved. The manager needs to motivate staff to stay and work hard. Feedback. To help you get started, you may find the following answer outline useful. First, decide which theoretical model you want to use. Expectancy theory or Herzberg are quite appealing for this problem. Your analysis or why staff become fed up will lead to your recommendation. This may include a mix of measures such as promotion and bonuses for long serving staff. Also, it might be worth developing social contact that help bring Texas alive for the Mumbai staff. Visit special uniforms, TV, and video links. They might even seem to lend long-serving staff money to buy apartment. This would be certainly tie staff to the company. However, the opposite could be the case and they might come to feel very secure and become lazy. Look at the theories and see how they just suggest one can motivate young, Educate employees that want independence, flexible working condition, and interesting work life. Maybe the company can decentralize management and have teams working on specific products or in competition with each other. The important thing is to decide on a theoretical framework and use that to analyze the problem. 3.8 Controlling the role. The final role to consider is that of the manager as controller. What what do managers control? How do you think this relates to the other rules we have discussed? Once more, take a few minutes to think about this question and then read on. Managers are required to control the action of individuals, but management is also more than this. Our understanding and management involve the coordination of all resources, and so controlling rules involves how these resources include but not only people are used and interact. Other areas of control including the plans developed to achieve the goals and all delegate activities, for example. Budgetary control. The stages involved in the controlling process can be perceived as follow. Number 1. Define the necessary standard or goal to be achieved. Number 2. Decide upon and implement a measure of outcomes. Number 3. Make an ongoing comparison of current activities with the standard set. Number 4. Make changes to current behavior if needed to ensure standard or goal attained. See Mullins 2010, page 668 for a more detailed discussion.